How you doing, Emmanuel? It's finally good to meet you. I'm Micah Tillotson, the Director of HR, the last interview you have to do to get this job, so I'm glad you made it to the first step. We'll get started. So once again, I'm sure you already know a lot about ExxonMobil here in South Korea. Like I said, you've been through several interviews already, but let me give you a little bit more information, just in case. So we've been in South Korea for just over 35 years now. Some of our integrated activities include gas and power marketing support for liquefied natural gas sales contract implementation, the manufacturing and marketing of mobile brand lubricants for domestic and exports. We have services and support during construction of major projects and facilities that happen here in South Korea, and as well as sales and licensing for chemical products. My first question for you, after giving you a little bit more information, is what do you think we do well here in South Korea?
ExxonMobil has expanded its South Korea base stock facility serving market. Additional capacity supports customer requirements for high quality base stocks, and you guys also reaffirm your long-term commitment to the Asia Pacific with your long-term investment there, reassuring them that you're there for the long haul. Also know that you guys are doing well by South Korea. Y'all began your hydro treater operations in July. That enables your facilities to increase your daily output of ultra-low sulfur diesel to increase more than 9 million liters of diesel. I also know that demand for fuels in Asia Pacific are projected to grow with increase in personal vehicle ownership. I also know that you guys have done well in the area, that you guys have invested $3 billion as of July of this year into the country.
One of the fundamental drivers of energy demand around the world is living standards. Because in some ways I say this is a very simple story. People around the world all want the same things. They want refrigerators, they want TVs, they want cars, and they want cell phones.
There's going to be a significant shift in terms of demand toward China, toward India, Middle East, Latin America, Africa. A lot of these developing countries or regions that we don't hear that much about in the news, they're going to play a much bigger role in the next 20, 30 years.
In our outlook, we say the world is going to need 35% more energy in the future. All of that growth is really in the developing world.
People are looking to improve their standards of living, and with that comes increased energy demand.
How you doing, Brian? It's finally nice to meet you. Glad to see you made it to the final round of interviews. And my first question for you is, how does ExxonMobil benefit operating here in South Korea?
Being that South Korea has one of the largest economies in the world, and considering that South Korea has a high-tech economy leading the world in electronic manufacturing and engineering, ExxonMobil benefits from all the advancements and technology there while in the country. Aside from the business aspect, ExxonMobil does an excellent job adapting to cultures.
What kind of energy is so abundant it can help provide the power for all this? Natural gas. More than ever before, America's electricity is generated by it. ExxonMobil uses advanced visualization and drilling technologies to produce natural gas, powering our lives while reducing emissions by up to 60%. Energy lives here.
I know that ExxonMobil puts a lot of focus towards their technological advances that put clean energy at the top of their priority list. Being that South Korea is one of the leaders in technological advances in terms of engineering or electronic manufacturing, a partnership between ExxonMobil and South Korea represents a win-win. Not to mention that South Korea has one of the world's largest economies. Now, aside from the business aspect, ExxonMobil fosters an environment that respects all cultures, and because of this philosophy, it encourages other countries to allow ExxonMobil to come into their country and create new partnerships. And because of this globally, it gives ExxonMobil a prestige that comes with success. So with any market that they do have a presence in, success in whatever it is that they're specializing in should come easy, or it does come easy just because of the prestige and the reputation that ExxonMobil has. From what I've read, it appears that ExxonMobil doesn't really face any legal trouble in South Korea, for the simple fact that ExxonMobil has had a presence in South Korea for the last 35 years. Also to add, just from the notoriety, ExxonMobil being the company that it is, they always take responsibility for their mistakes. But being that ExxonMobil has a presence in so many different countries around the world, it's clear that they have a high ethical standard. And not to add, it's obvious as they take pride in performing well at the highest levels of business, from employees to their operations. From my research, I know that ExxonMobil has strict consequences that meet anyone who fail to meet their standards. And I also know that ExxonMobil has a comprehensive training system and guidelines that make it easy for these standards to be met, which is why the company is so well respected around the world. For any company that devotes so much time and resources to making sure that they're ethically and morally upright is bound to never have legal problems in any country. I mean, especially ExxonMobil, for the fact that they have already established good, successful business relationships around the world. So it makes it a whole lot easier to work with a company that you know is already ethically and morally upright. The beauty of ExxonMobil is that they're a company that strives to preserve the culture of any country that they're in, and in terms of respect, of course. And what ExxonMobil does a great job of doing in any country is that instead of changing the environment to fit their company, they change the company to fit the environment, in terms of raising the standard of living or the stability of the communities in which they do business in. Now, ExxonMobil has what they call giving guidelines, which focuses on healthcare, environmental services in terms of conservation, and education to the communities that they're immersed in. Now, not to forget the success that ExxonMobil has in the energy industry. They provide what is much needed around the world, which is a clean energy source. So ExxonMobil being in any country with what they provide and the fact that they care more about making sure that they're, more of an ally than a problem in your country, it does a lot of great things for you.
How you doing, Kennedy? It's finally good to meet you. I'm glad to see you made it to the final rounds of interview. I'm Mike, the head of HR. So my first question for you is, what recommendations would you offer ExxonMobil regarding new innovative ways to acquire energy?
In high demand is LNG. It is liquid natural gas. Right now it's in demand and it's supplying 30% of the world's energy, and a lot of researchers are suggesting that it's going to be the number 2 fossil fuel being used in the world in the upcoming years, next to oil. So my suggestion would be for ExxonMobil to look into adding more LNG plants to South Korea. If they do that, it will help expand and maintain the current trade surplus that South Korea has. Currently, I'm aware that ExxonMobil in South Korea is responsible for the sales and contract implementation for LNG, but I do think that because LNG is very eco-friendly and cost-efficient, that South Korea or ExxonMobil should look into adding more plants for producing LNG.
I'm an engineer. I love my job. I can see what it's doing for the community on a day-to-day basis. Natural gas is cleaner burning than most fossil fuels, and it's vital to our energy needs. Increasingly, we're finding gas in hard-to-reach areas, but now we've developed technology that enables us to access gas in hard rocks, so we can bring more fuel to homes and help provide a reliable source of energy into the future.
My second question is, what suggestions do you have regarding the oil and gas reserves in South Korea?
Okay. I think that ExxonMobil should look into exploration and production in South Korea area. There are no reserves there. However, exploration and production from the Korean government is being heavily pushed, and they give incentives for doing such work. Also, I'm aware that ExxonMobil did just recently this year sign an agreement with the Korean Institute of Technology. And with the agreement, they are stating that ExxonMobil will, the company will look into adding new integrative ways and exploring new technologies to add to their fuel cell implementations that they use, the biodegradables that they use, robotics, automation. They just want to be able to add to everything. So I think if they continue those strategies and also look into exploration and production, that will help keep ExxonMobil as a top company in South Korea and have them become probably the world's largest energy provider.